Living Single ran from 1993 to 1998 on Fox. There were 5 seasons, 6 characters, and 1 Brooklyn brownstone. But what if I told you that one of the greatest Black sitcoms ever made was fighting for its life the entire time it was on the air, and the cast was quietly going to war with the very people who were supposed to support them? For decades, only pieces of the story came out. A comment here, a fired actor there, a co-star suddenly missing from episodes with no explanation, and though people noticed, they just couldn't get anyone to talk up until now. Let's get into it. To understand why what happened matters, you have to understand what Living Single actually was. When creator Yvette Liebowser pitched the show, she literally ripped a page from her own diary about 6 friends, Black young, in their 20s, trying to make it in New York City, and on August 22nd, 1993, Fox aired the pilot, and it became a cultural reset.
Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Kim Fields, and Erica Alexander.
Did you ever stop to think about what the world would be like without men?
A bunch of fat, happy women and no crown.
My Girls, a new comedy coming soon to Fox.
You had Queen Latifah as Khadijah James, an editor and publisher of Flavor magazine, a Howard grad, and a Black woman running something. You had Kim Fields as Regine Hunter, the fashion-obsessed girl from Jersey who never apologized for wanting the finer things.
Hello, ladies. I've got good news, and I couldn't wait till you got home to rub your noses in it.
Kim Coles played Sinclair James, Khadijah's sweet, slightly chaotic cousin, who grew into herself across 5 seasons in a way that felt genuinely earned.
When times are tough and I'm feeling blue, 3 words of wisdom. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
And then there was Erica Alexander as Maxine Shaw, a sharp-tongued, fiercely independent attorney who made an entire generation of Black girls want to go to law school.
A good man is like fine wine. They all start out like grapes. Our job is to stomp on them. And then keep them in the dark until they mature into something we wouldn't mind having dinner with.
Across the hall lived Overton Jones, played by John Henton, the lovable handyman.
Now you see, these little devils can be very, very tricky to fix. And what you never, ever want to do is to touch this wire right here. You thought I was gonna touch it, didn't you? Just a little handyman humor.
And T.C. Carson as Kyle Barker, the stylish investment banker who went back and forth with Max in a love-hate dynamic that had fans hollering every single episode.
Hey, what's up? I got the paper.
Damn, these paper boys are getting older and uglier.
Max, yet another thinly veiled attempt to deny your animalistic attraction towards me.
You right about the animal park, Fido.
You want me so bad. It hurts, don't it?
Now here's the thing people don't say enough. This cast understood exactly what they were doing and why it mattered. They were representations of Black culture. Howard-educated, professionally ambitious, beautifully flawed Black people on primetime television being depicted as fully human. Erica Alexander herself put it plainly that representation matters. The show was an unexpected hit, according to Fox executives, which should tell you everything you need to know about how much they believed in it from the jump, and by its 2nd season, it was pulling in over 6 million viewers an episode. It was nominated for 6 NAACP Image Awards and was the show being waited on in Black households across America. And then, 13 months into its run, something happened that would set off a chain of events the cast is still processing today. In September 1994, NBC premiered a new show, 6 friends, young, living in New York City, navigating love and work and life together in the same apartment building. This new show was called Friends. Both Living Single and Friends were produced by Warner Brothers. They filmed on the same lot, And not only did NBC's former president Warren Littlefield openly admit he wished he had bought Living Single for his own network, there are documented reports that Living Single and Friends were literally two of the same name options presented during the development of Yvette Lee Bowser's show. Let that sink in for a second. Kim Coles herself broke this down in an interview.
Well, the story goes that the president of NBC at the time, Warren Littlefield, had said that if there's any show that you could have bought this season, what do you wish you had bought? And he said, I wish I'd bought Living Single. And strangely, a year later, Friends came on, or a season later, Friends came on. So the similarities are that we were 20-somethings living in New York, trying to make it. The big difference is the melanin. The other big difference is the all the amenities and all the checks. And that was tough, but we understood it. And to this day, there are people who go, you guys came before Friends. Like, yeah, and that's great. And yeah, but the checks were very different.
Now here's where it gets interesting. The Living Single cast wasn't just filming on the same lot as Friends, but they were watching up close how the two shows were treated completely differently. T.C. Carson laid it out in an interview that went viral.
Friends worked on the big lot, so they got access to all the amenities that were on the big lot. At the end of it, they were making $100,000 an episode, or no, $1 million an episode, something like that. We didn't approach, at least I never approached any of those numbers. They had better services, they had better craft services, they had better trailers, but at the time, we didn't care. We were working on the show we were working on. And quite frankly, I was happy to have a gig. And I knew that what we were doing was important. So it didn't matter what they were doing. I saw it. But that's kind of what happens in Hollywood with what we do. We're always second tier, And so it was typical. It wasn't anything that was unusual to me. What I didn't like is that I know that Yvette created this show. And I know that they took that and created another one. I don't think she got credit for that.
The salary disparity between the two casts, the marketing budget, the studio access, the amenities on the lot, all of these were documented. Kim Coles described the Warner Brothers ranch lot vividly. Friends had everything, but Living Single was operating on the margins, getting bicycles to cross the lot, while the other show's cast was getting infrastructure, promotion, and eventually contracts worth millions per episode. Friends ran for 10 seasons and got about 26 Primetime Emmy nominations, but Living Single got 5 seasons and was canceled without much ceremony. Lots of fans believe that if Living Single had received the same investment, the same promotional engine, the same Warner Brothers muscle, it would have run just as long, maybe longer. But that's not the world these people were operating in. They were Black, they were on Fox, and they were disposable in ways the Friends cast never had to worry about. The cast knew it. And T.C. Carson decided to do something about it. By his own account, every time the cast had an issue with the show, how they were being treated, what was being written, the disparity between them and their Warner Brothers counterparts, they came together as a group, and TC would be the one to walk into the room and say it out loud.
So you're doing this show, and you become kind of the spokesman for the rest of the cast to go with issues, to the producers.
This obviously made him a target. In season 5, the writers started shipping Kyle Barker off to London. TC got suspicious. He pulled aside some of the writers and asked them directly, "Are y'all getting ready to fire me? I just need to know so I can tie up some things." He was told no.
It had been written that I was going to London. So I asked some people, the writers, I said, "So are you all getting ready to fire me? I just need to know so I can tie up some things and, have my life straight." I was in the middle of creating a new space to live, so I just needed to know. And then, no, we'll never break up the group. We'll never fight. No, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. And then I'm watching the episode when I'm leaving to go to London. And not even 5 minutes later, my phone rings. It's my lawyer calling me to tell me that they're not bringing me back next year. And that was it. And, it's not the first time I've been fired. I've been fired before, but it was the way it was done. It's the way it was done. I had given a lot for that show, and I thought I deserved a little bit better than that.
But it gets worse, y'all. When Carson went to audition for new roles, a black casting director pulled him aside and warned him that people were circulating false rumors about him in Hollywood, that he was difficult, and that he came to work unprepared. He had to look this man in the eye and defend himself against lies that his former employers had been whispering to shut down his next move. He eventually described what the executives had said to him before cutting him loose. After he was gone, Kyle Barker was replaced on the show by Terrence Howard. The character never fully recovered. Neither, for a while, did Carson's on-screen career. When his co-stars Kim Coles and Erica Alexander heard what had happened, they spoke out, criticizing the network for the way the cast was treated and the lack of support they received across the run. But T.C. Carson wasn't the only one absorbing damage behind the scenes. Kim Coles revealed in August 2025 on the Reliving Single podcast she co-hosts with Erica Alexander what she had been dealing with since day one.
So I would get a call every beginning of every season to my manager saying, Kim Coles has to lose some weight. She has to lose some weight. She has to lose some weight. And I remember having this conversation with some guy friends, and they go, there's no man in America that would kick any one of y'all out of bed, which is a really, really crude way to say it. But yeah. I think what was beautiful about us is there were 4 completely different body types. And we looked like women that everybody knew in our community, but there is a expectation by these, suits in an office somewhere of what they think sexy is. And so I had a really hard time as I was gaining weight and feeling as if everybody was staring. And there was this moment where Latifah was like, no, we're not going to do this. And then it wasn't brought up anymore. And I told, you won't remember this, but I told you that they threatened me and said, if you keep gaining weight, we're going to have to start writing fat jokes. And you said, I won't read those jokes.
Who said that to you?
Yeah, executive said it to my manager. We have to include it. She wouldn't be gaining all this weight and her friends wouldn't say anything. And we're going to have to, that was the threat, lose some weight or we're going to have to start writing fat jokes. And I brought it to you and you said, I won't read those jokes.
No, who's going to say them?
No one would.
See, that's
Think about that. Despite delivering every week, the character Kim was playing had become one of the most beloved figures in Black television, and some executives, sitting in offices they didn't have to perform in, were threatening to humiliate her publicly in her own scripts if she didn't conform to whatever standard they decided she was supposed to meet. Coles brought the threat directly to Erica Alexander, and Alexander's response was exactly what you'd want from a real one, saying outrightly that she wouldn't read those jokes. From what she's saying, Queen Latifah stepped in at the script level too, making it clear early on that those kinds of jokes would not be in the show, but the damage to Kim Coles' peace of mind didn't just disappear. She admitted on the podcast that the pressure got into her head in a way she couldn't fully shake. She spent years making a very concerted effort throughout the series to keep the image that they wanted. Season after season, all while playing a character the audience loved exactly as she was. Now here's where I need y'all to pay attention. By season 5, something was noticeably off with Kim Coles' presence on the show. Her character Sinclair started appearing less. For multiple episodes, she was absent entirely, and the show offered zero explanation with no storyline reason, and even when she did come back, it wasn't with the same energy. Now, nothing is confirmed here, but the pattern is hard to ignore. By the final season, Queen Latifah had become both the lead actress and an executive producer on the show. That's a significant shift in power, and some reports from that time suggest that the growing imbalance with Latifah's rising star, her expanding control, the spotlight that increasingly centered on her left, some of her co-stars feeling pushed to the margins. Kim Coles, in interviews over the years, has been carefully diplomatic. She said things like, not everyone got along, and that she was taking care of herself. She never named names, but the implication pointed toward tension with someone higher up than her in the food chain. Some believe she may have pushed back on pay equity or creative decisions, and that challenging that status quo had consequences. And here's the detail that really makes you go, Unlike almost every other co-star beef in Black TV history, there has been no reunion or public reconciliation, no Instagram post of the two of them laughing over it. When Living Single reunion conversations have come up over the years, Kim Coles was notably less enthusiastic than the rest of the cast. Even now, when the internet is openly ready and willing to fund a full reunion special, that specific dynamic feels unresolved. I'm not saying there's a feud, but I'm saying the timing is interesting. And in my experience, when the timing is interesting, it's usually not a coincidence. When Living Single aired its final episode on January 1st, 1998, the cast went their separate ways. The saddest thing is, not all of their journeys went smoothly. The most harrowing story belongs to John Henton. After the show wrapped, Henton booked the role of Millsap Morris on The Hughleys, which premiered in 1998. Things were looking up and he looked like he had momentum. Then, in September 2000, he went to a UPN party to celebrate the show's new season.
So we went over there and they had this big party for us and it was free liquor. And I was, I don't know, it was one of those just kind of cloudy nights for me, man. I don't know, but I drank a lot and I went to my dressing room and I said I was gonna sleep there. Cause we went from the party, limo took us back to the dressing room and I said I'm gonna sleep here. And then my boy called up. And I laid down. I was just gonna sleep and just get up and do the rest.
Because
of the
you knew you were drunk. I mean,
yeah, I knew I was drunk. I knew there was no reason for me to get out. But turns out my boy called and said that our dealer, our coke dealer, had some. And I was fresh out. I was fresh out. Just so happened I was fresh out. Yeah. So I didn't drive, but my habit decided to drive.
Hell no. He said your habit.
My habit. I didn't drive. I had no idea. I was asleep. I was still asleep. I don't remember none of it. But I got in the car and I ended up hitting the wall at 140 miles an hour. It's a speedy car, but it can take a punch because I came up out of there.
Yeah, but damn, man. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was all out of control, man. It was just a mess.
That thing is, you said 140 miles an hour?
Took him 4 hours to cut me out the car.
No.
The crash that followed nearly killed him. He destroyed his left eye socket, shattered both legs, broke 9 teeth, and ripped his stomach. His face was so badly deformed that surgeons couldn't identify him and had to work from photographs that his publicist brought to the hospital. He was stuck in a mini coma, and the recovery wasn't easy. It took quite a while, and there was very extensive plastic surgery that restored most of his facial structure, but his acting career essentially stalled. He returned to work eventually, but he started to appear only in guest roles. In a stand-up set about a year after the crash, Henton told his audience that waking up from the coma, he felt refreshed, but he definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone. That's the kind of humor that only comes from someone who's genuinely processed something terrible. You respect it. He's still out there, but the version of John Henton's career that could have been is one of the sadder footnotes in this entire story.
Like that.
Now, because you were already on the show, but let me ask you, do you think that accident hurt your career?
Well, I mean, you know, when you look different, you know, people looked at it a little different. I don't know if me just not giving a good audition again. I think if I had like a great audition, I would have got it. But it was something in the back of a lot of people's minds, you know. But I did a few other shows, you know. So it was cool. But you know, something like that will, you know. People might not want to take a chance on you, you know, when you mess up that bad. So.
Then there's the loss of Queen Latifah's mother, Rita Owens, who had actually appeared as Queen Latifah's character's mother on the show, who passed away after a long battle with heart disease. Latifah had been her mother's caregiver for years, and the fact that her real mother played her TV mother on Living Single makes that loss land in a particularly layered way for fans of the show, but she kept on building. Despite everything, all of them kept rising. Queen Latifah is at a net worth of $70 million. She's been nominated for an Oscar. She's won a Grammy, won a Primetime Emmy, and starred in and produced CBS's The Equalizer, which just wrapped its 5th season in May 2025.
Get your ass up!
What kind of respectable organization starts off a relationship with a new member like this?
Who invited your mom?
I ain't ugly enough to be his mom.
You got jokes. That bike is mine.
Sorry, baby, it don't come with training wheels.
What, you a cop or something?
Nope.
You made a big mistake. Sup, my dudes? What made you think you can just roll up in that spot, huh? Asking about Malcolm.
Cause I'm gonna light every last one of y'all up in here. If you don't drop them weapons right now.
Yo, you ran, lady. What's that supposed to be?
What, this?
What the hell was that? Where that's coming from?
What? Huh? Drop them guns right now. Get up and get out of here. I better not see you again unless you're in school. And if anybody even thinks about messing with him, I'm coming back.
She was the first hip-hop artist to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame back in 2006 and in 2021, when she accepted the BET Lifetime Achievement Award. She publicly acknowledged her partner, Ebony Nichols, for the first time.
And thank you for making Equalizer #1. Ebony, my love. Rebel, my love. Peace. Happy Pride.
Erica Alexander kept working and kept pushing further than just acting. She co-founded Color Farm Media, appeared in Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Hello, Mr.
Williams. Rod Williams.
From TSA?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you know all TSA issues should be brought up with their authorizing officer.
Yes, ma'am, but this is not TSA business.
Okay, don't call me ma'am. We're not gonna get along.
She also landed a role in American Fiction alongside Issa Rae and Tracy Ellis Ross, and became an active advocate for equity in media and electoral politics, even representing organizations like Exponent and Vote Run Lead. Basically, the woman who played Max Shaw is out here trying to actually change the systems Max Shaw would have sued. Personally, I respect that deeply. Kim Fields went behind the camera, directing episodes of Sister Sister, Girlfriends, House of Pain, and spending years directing Nickelodeon's Young Dylan. She also appeared on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Dancing with the Stars, and kept acting in TV movies and series.
Point, and so if you want to have a point, then but it's not about don't interrupt me if I don't interrupt you, because when you first had the floor...
What is your point now?
I am making it.
Okay, and we are bored, so please get to the point.
No,
I'd like to hear it.
Thank you. But when I say something...
I would say, really?
She is, by every measure, a woman who refused to let the industry reduce her to a single season of her life. T.C. Carson rose above the attempt to blacklist him and actually became an iconic voice of Kratos in the God of War video game franchise.
All I remember is what I have lost. All I remember is what I have lost.
I trust you to do the right thing, Kratos.
You shouldn't.
I trust you to do the right thing, Kratos.
You shouldn't.
I deliver your revenge on Zeus.
My vengeance ends now.
I delivered your revenge on Zeus.
It is over, Athena. My vengeance ends now. I owe you nothing! My vengeance ends now. I owe you nothing! Zeus! I'm coming for you! Valentine! Your lover has returned! I love you! I am what the gods have.
He also voiced characters in Star Wars, The Clone, and Kim Coles. She's been working consistently, doing comedy, TV appearances, and films. She and Erica Alexander launched the Reliving Single podcast through Kevin Hart's Heartbeat Company, and that podcast has become the place where decades of behind-the-scenes truth is finally seeing daylight. It's one of the most unexpectedly important things to happen to this cast's story in years. So what do I actually think about all of this? Living Single was one of the most culturally significant sitcoms of the 1990s, and if it was treated with a fraction of the respect and resources it deserved, the possibilities are unimaginable. The people running the industry didn't value what it was doing for the audience it was doing it for. The cast knew it, and the creators knew it, and it took 30 years for the rest of the world to catch up. T.C. Carson was punished for daring to say that he and his castmates deserved better. And I think what happened to his career after that firing is something the industry should be uncomfortable about. Kim Coles carried something for years that she should never have had to carry, And Queen Latifah, who walked into that BT stage in 2021 and simply said her people's names, showed us exactly who she's always been, someone who does it on her own terms, in her own time, with her whole chest. Basically, Living Single was a show that got abandoned, and the cast had to figure out how to build their lives in the wreckage anyway, and they each did good work doing it. Every single one of them did. So tell me which cast member's story hit you the hardest? Because for me, it's Kim Cole's, every season, a phone call that she should lose weight or bear her dignity attacked, and she still showed up and made Sinclair somebody we'd love forever. It's frankly impressive. Drop your thoughts below. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? There's so much more tea where this came from. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.